Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here with my next quick take video. Now it's a triple comparison between the Redmi Note 8 Pro, Honor 9X Pro, and the Xiaomi Mi 9T. Let's talk about the prices. This comes in at $250 US, and the Honor 9X Pro here in Hong Kong at least is costing almost 100 more at $350 US. Both of these are the 128GB versions, and then we got the Mi 9T, which is coming in the 128 version here in Hong Kong at the Mi store officially, 2,500 Hong Kong dollars or 320 USD. So there's quite a little bit of price point difference here. Not going to be an exhaustive comparison, but I really want to talk about, once again, like the previous video, what are the differences, and then which phone do I think is really the best option for you, considering, these price points. So let's have a look. So let's go into it now. Design and display, and all of these phones have one spec in common. They are all 8.8 millimeters in thickness. And so there you go. Considering the battery capacity differences, the Redmi Note 8 Pro has a 4,500 capacity over the 4,000 of the other two. Looking at these phones on the side, you can tell there is definitely one of these that stands out, and that is the Mi 9T. Just in my hand already, I can feel that cold metal, and it just feels very premium in the hand. There you see the bottoms. We have the USB-C and 3.5 millimeter headphone jacks at the bottom on these, whereas the Mi 9T has it at the top. Now, in terms of actual weight, they're all in that 190 to 200 gram mark. The 9X Pro is definitely the heftiest of the three, but it's crazy to think, guys, that we went from phones back like 2-3 years ago, which at 150 grams would have seemed very heavy. Dude, 200 grams is like now the norm. Imagine, it's insane. And now talking about display, we have a 6.53 inch versus 6.59 versus 6.39 displays, and these phones are getting bigger because of the larger displays. Now, of these three, there's one that I feel already takes the spot in the victory here, and it is the Mi 9T. Now, this is just a regular AMOLED display, but it is still an AMOLED display. And if you just look, let's go to the Play Store. Look at the white point. Look at the deep blacks of that Uber Eats icon. I mean, this is the beauty of the Mi 9T, and this is why I've been touting this phone so much. This phone, honestly, is the best option for a global audience if you want AMOLED at a really rock bottom price. This, coming in at that close to under $350 US, 320 US dollar price point, you are getting AMOLED, whereas you're only getting LCD on these other two phones. I think LCD is less of an issue though at the price point of the Redmi Note 8 Pro. So if it's, you're getting a phone in the 250 price range, it's okay that it has an LCD display, and you see it there. It's still got a very nice display on it. Now, it's nothing spectacular. The contrast is nowhere near as good as on the Xiaomi Mi 9T, but also wanted to show you guys the bezels on these phones. You can clearly see that these two are now much more similar in terms of size, but we still have that teardrop notch on the Redmi Note 8 Pro, while these two phones have opted for the pop-up selfie camera. If I had to pick between the actual display of LCD quality on these two, they are so close. I might give the edge to the Honor 9X Pro, but it doesn't matter because you got the Mi 9T with that beautiful AMOLED display, and it takes this display round versus the other two phones. And here are the results on at least two of these on Geekbench, and you see the Kirin 810, 8GB 128 gigs of storage in the Honor 9X Pro has some really terrific scores, while the Mi 9T is holding its own as well with that Snapdragon 730 processor. Now, you may be wondering, where are the Redmi Note 8 Pro scores? And I want to show you guys because I literally have been having trouble trying to get this benchmark running. Now, this could be something related to the MediaTek processor here, because I've been trying to run the CPU benchmarks for the entire day. I even got a software update, haven't been able to do it yet, so I will continue trying to do that. But like I said before, this Helio G90T is the biggest question mark I think we have on this Redmi Note 8 Pro and how it compares to these other phones. I will be doing PUBG at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But for now, I will have to wait and see what the actual scores are for this phone. Now, quickly mentioning battery life here, as I said earlier, we have a 4,500 milliampere capacity on this Redmi Note 8 Pro, while the other two have 4,000 milliampere capacities. The Mi 9T was my champ of the previous battery drain test. It did a phenomenal job, and I still think it will hold its own, especially because of the AMOLED display, whereas these are LCD panels. They will not be as efficient. And here's quick YouTube playback on all three phones. I can already tell you that I like the colors most on the Mi 9T here at the bottom, because LCD, whether you think it's a good display technology or not, it just will not be able to match, the colors on AMOLED. The colors just pop here on the Mi 9T display, even if it is just a regular AMOLED versus being Super AMOLED. But I gotta give it to these other two phones. They're still holding their own. I will give the edge, obviously, to the 9X Pro. I do like that it is just completely notch free, and for all you notch haters, you would definitely be considering this as an option, and this would be a no-go. But I don't mind the teardrop notch. Of all the notches on phones, I feel this teardrop notch is the least offensive. Add to that the fact that they've really reduced that bottom bezel, and you have a really good, awesome viewing experience of content on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. But if I had to pick them in order here, I would probably still give the Redmi Note 8 Pro third place, the Honor 9X for its completely notchless display and content viewing is second, but I give the final victory here to the Mi 9T for this beautiful AMOLED uninterrupted viewing experience. And talking about the camera specs, what is the difference? We have the 64 megapixel new Samsung GW1 sensor on this Redmi Note 8 Pro. Now, I haven't fully tested out this sensor. It took some decent shots yesterday, but I need to keep doing some more testing on it. But let's continue on now to this Honor 9X Pro. It's got that Sony IMX 582 actually. I thought it was the 586 previously, but that is a similar spec it shares with the Xiaomi Mi 9T. Now, a lot of people say, oh, the 582 is garbage. It's definitely going to be worse than the 586. The only difference, guys, between the 582 and the 586 is one thing: the ability to shoot 4K 60 FPS. That is it. From my understanding, the sensor is exactly the same one, so it really shouldn't make a difference. That means these phones should have shooting capability very similar to that of a Redmi K20 Pro or any other phone that's used that Sony IMX sensor. But the one thing that this Redmi Note 8 Pro has above the other two is just an array of sensors on its back, and you see it here. We got a triple camera setup on these other phones: 48, 8, and 2, and then 48, 8, and 13 respectively. But the Redmi Note 8 Pro goes one step above with a dedicated macro camera, 2 megapixel, and that depth sensor. So you could count the depth sensor or you could not, but it's 4 cameras or 4 sensors on the back of this phone, which, considering it's the cheapest of the bunch, is pretty incredible. And so stay tuned for my full camera comparison, guys. It's gonna be a fun one between these phones, and maybe I'll throw in a few other surprises there as well. All right, and let's wrap up this quick take here with a bit of PUBG. And we see there that it is HD in high settings for all these phones, but surprisingly, you can play up to Ultra and HDR on the Redmi Note 8 Pro, whereas the other phones have no option to speak of. That is insane that the most budget of these phones is able to do that. But anyways, let's check realistic. We got everything set up here, and we're going to make sure that we have the displays up to 150%. There we go. We've enabled shadows and anti-aliasing, and we have disabled auto adjust graphics. So make sure those settings, the other two, are already set for that, and let's get started. And it's time for the classic Frankie Tech swim test. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Oh man, and these phones are doing all right, and we're at the plane jump. Let's see how we're doing. And the Note 8 Pro, no problems. All these phones are doing great. I think the Mi 9T might be in a separate game though, because it is actually a little bit behind. It took a little bit longer to log in versus the other phones. Let's get down to the surface, get some guns, get some action. And just got guns on the Honor 9X. I'm getting shot at though. Take that. Oh yeah, 1 kill on the Honor 9X Pro. And let's see if we can get our first kill on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. I see someone there in the distance. Oh yeah, bring it on, buddy. Take that. Oh yeah. That is the first kill on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. And they're shooting at me on the Mi 9T. Take that. Oh yeah. And the Mi 9T gets its first kill. And now the Honor 9X Pro is getting some action. Take that. Oh yeah, bot. You got bot, baby. That is gaming on the Honor 9X Pro and the Mi 9T. Let's see if I can get one last kill here on the Redmi Note 8 Pro, which I'm not going to lie, it's getting hot. It's getting pretty hot now, and I can definitely feel it. I don't have the air on in this room, so it's probably lending to the kind of even warmer climate this phone is having to deal with right now. Take that. Oh yeah, 4 kills, and the Honor 9X Pro is definitely my gaming champ of the day here. Meanwhile, in terms of talking about the heat factor, I will admit this Redmi Note 8 Pro is definitely the warmest of the three, with the Honor 9X still pretty warm, but not too warm, and the Mi 9T is the coolest of the bunch. Now, that's just my experience when I've gamed with all these three phones at the same time. I do think if there is an overheating issue, it's something that will likely be solved in software. But it could also be something more related to the MediaTek processor. And I don't want to make a huge fuss about this because this phone just came out. So I'm going to wait and see if with software updates, if with kind of more optimization, that this will actually improve. But we'll wait and see. But for now, it's definitely the hottest of the bunch. So that's it for this video and my final verdict after this quick take here. These phones offer a lot from their respective price points from $250, $320 to $350 US. But if I only had to pick one based on just overall value and just overall, I think, balance of price, performance, design, and everything, which phone would I pick? It's gotta be the Xiaomi Mi 9T. And I think this phone still ticks all the boxes from that gorgeous AMOLED display, Snapdragon 730 performance, triple camera setup on the back with the Sony IMX582. It's just the best design of these three, and I still love this Mi 9T, K20 Pro, K20, whatever you want to call it. It is the K20/Mi 9T series of this year, and I think it just cannot be topped. But we got some more stuff to talk about here. The Honor 9X Pro. Now, I know you can get the regular 9X for a lot less, but this 9X Pro, I just think considering its specs, doesn't make a lot of sense. This phone is a decent phone, and I know it's very hard to get right now, but you still got LCD at a price point that where you really shouldn't. It should be an AMOLED display. Yes, it's got the pop-up camera, 4,000 milliamperes, and it's got a lot of good stuff going towards it. The design is nice. I don't mind this back. I used to love it a lot more than I do now. But I just think for the price, you can get a lot more picking up the Xiaomi Mi 9T. And last but not least, we have this Redmi Note 8 Pro, the new entrant. And let's face it, guys, I'm still in honeymoon phase with this phone. This gorgeous ice jade color is one of the nicest colors I've ever seen on a phone. Now, LCD at this price point, I can accept. And the reality is there's so much to like about this from the perspective of its design, of its battery life, the array of cameras on the back. There's just a lot to consider here. But the one thing I think that is holding this Redmi Note 8 Pro back is the inclusion of that MediaTek processor. And I know Xiaomi is trying to explain why they chose that option. And in terms of benchmarks, in terms of experience, it may actually surpass some of the other chips in mid-range phones. But it's more of a perception issue, like I mentioned. It's more the MediaTek brand that people just don't trust as much as Qualcomm. And so I think that is going to take a little bit of time if we're looking at these heating issues that are potentially happening. I wouldn't kind of rush to judgment here, but if it turns out that this MediaTek processor is either just not as efficient or just overheats a lot more, that may be something to keep in mind. And I honestly probably would have been happier if they just included a Snapdragon 712 or something of the like in this Redmi Note 8 Pro. That's just me, but I still think considering the price point for 8 GB, 128 gigs of storage for $250, like, you gotta be kidding me. This is a major deal. This is an awesome phone for the price. If you are counting your pennies and every single dollar counts, then you have no better choice than the Redmi Note 8 Pro. But hit me up in the comments, which one of these phones would you pick up? And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Reggie subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. So I will be doing a full camera comparison with these very soon. I'll be throwing in some surprises there. And stay tuned, guys, because the road to 100,000 is upon us. And I got some great stuff in store. Great stuff indeed. Anyways, that's it for this video. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one.